Jak 3 is a game that had everything going for it. The third game in a successful franchise backed by industry giants, developed by a then beloved legendary studio. When Naughty Dog first started the Jak and Daxter series back in 2001, they were still trying to find their footing, having been separated from the franchise that had been their claim to fame, Crash Bandicoot. Their answer at first was to keep to the 3D platformer genre they helped create, but make use of technology to make it more refined. The result was a game that, while very competent, wasn't exactly a trailblazer in any way, but a couple years later they found the formula for this new franchise with Jak 2, a game that drew inspirations far and wide but ended up as something wholly unique. It managed to tap into a challenging market of edgy teens whose parents wouldn't let them play GTA, and it was very unapologetic about it. With an established and unique formula and all the momentum they could have hoped for, all that Naughty Dog had to do was iron out a few rough edges, increase the scope a bit, and keep to what worked in Jak 2, right? And that's pretty much exactly what they did. At face value, Jak 3 is Jak 2 but bigger, better, and more streamlined. Turns out video games are pretty complex though, and sometimes small changes can have huge consequences. Jak 3 is a bit controversial. I don't see people clawing at each other's throats over it. It's not like Dark Souls 2 or anything, but Jak fans often have mixed opinions on it. How come? I just started playing these games earlier this year on my quest to try to understand why modern Naughty Dog is such a piece of shit studio, and so far, I've been left with more questions than answers. Jak and Daxter and Jak 2 are both great games. Is the answer contained within Jak 3? I doubt it. Still, at this point I'm in too deep. I need to see for myself what Jak 3 is about, what is so contentious about it, and more importantly, if that's enough to bring this game and its franchise down so hard that its developers start making generic cover-based third-person shooter movie games lop. Hey, so it's kind of my birthday. Oh, you forgot. Oh, don't worry about it. No, you don't have to. I mean, if you insist, I guess you could like, comment, and subscribe. Really, that's more than enough. Thanks. Jak 3 starts with local edgelord Jak and his goatee being dropped off in the middle of the desert by armed guards. If you remember, in the last game he saved Haven City, the cyberpunk shithole, from being blown up by its former ruler Baron Praxis, in his perfectly justified attempt at killing off the Metalheads, a race of evil insect things that were laying siege to it. Half the city was destroyed in the process, and so he was blamed for it by this Grand Council we never heard of before, despite the fact that the new supposed ruler is Boob Lady over here, Ashlyn, who's on his side. Apparently she can do nothing about it. As the ship leaves, Jak's talking rat, Daxter, decides to stay with him, and so does this flying monkey with a Jamaican accent. They're all wandering in the desert waiting to die of thirst, but it's not all bad because that's the perfect excuse for a few expository flashbacks, which is just what the writers needed. Basically, on top of the damage dealt to the city by the Metalheads, there's now a new faction of evil robots that spawned from the old faction of comically evil guards from Jak 2, explains our old friend and new commander of the city guard, Craig or something. Basically, the city is a war zone between the three factions. It's a bit of a mess. Back to the present, a bunch of Mad Max extras find the trio thanks to a signal produced by a medal given by Ashlyn and drag them to their town. Jak and Daxter wake up in the palace of the desert city of Spargus and are greeted by its king, Damus, one of the guys who found them. No one was supposed to live outside Haven City, as we learned in Jak 2, but Asparagus was founded by exiles who were left to die in the desert and managed to survive, same as Jak. And it seems that throwing people in the desert to die business is thriving, because there's a lot of people here. Even more so when you consider that apparently in order to be allowed into the city, you have to survive a few gladiator fights to the death with real guns over a bit of boiling lava. I mean, the whole Mad Max desert punk thing is pretty cool, but I don't think they thought this through very well. Anyway, this is the tutorial basically. Jak 3 plays pretty much exactly like Jak 2. The controls are the same and so is the base moveset. The physics also feel the same, and yeah, the guns are still here. This is still a mature game for mature gamers such as me.
Fine, bring them on.
And Jak is still just as much of an edgelord. This first fight takes place on a platform that is periodically lowered into the lava, which forces us to stand on the smaller raised sections. Our objective is to slaughter 20 bondage slaves with the shotgun Damus gave us. It's kind of fucked up if you think about it, but shooting them into the lava is pretty funny, so I don't really give a shit. They brought knives to a gunfight, so they don't really stand much of a chance, but Hey, maybe that's what they're into. Jack can still transform into Dark Jack, and that's still just as redundant as it was in the second game. Deimos is pleased with all the murder and explains Jack has to win 3 arena fights to earn Sparga's citizenship, but he's allowed in for now. European governments, take notes. He gives us a gun upgrade that unlocks the blaster, the generic rifle weapon, and we're now free to go, or so you'd think. We're stopped by Fatso over here with the mustache. This is Cleaver, and he wants us to do some pest control in exchange for being allowed to drive his cars. This also serves as a tutorial for the main vehicle we can use to traverse Spargas, these little dudes called leaper lizards, and holy fuck are they an improvement over the crappy zoomer cars of Jak 2. These things control like a dream. They're fast, jump high, and are really responsive. I could play an entire 3D platformer game with this moveset. The mission is about hunting down a bunch of critters and watching as the lizard violently eats each of them whole. Then we meet this monk. I'm gonna call it a girl. The wiki confirms it anyway, so that's great. Anyway, she's doing a bunch of Naruto signs to some crashed satellite that she really doesn't seem to like.
The arena shows all, Dark One. Hate consumes your eyes.
Great. Thanks for the tip.
It will destroy you, just as these precursors destroyed themselves. Heroes think they can save the world when they themselves are lost. You could not possibly understand the dark forces at work here.
Don't talk to me about dark powers. I want to know what this is. Stand back.
Oh boy, minigame time. It's a very simple rhythm game. I'm honestly not even sure why it's here. Just press the button when it overlaps with the circles. Bidding it makes the artifact blow up. The monk is not pleased. She explains the satellite reacted to Jak because of how much of an asshole he is. Also all the evil dark eco energy that was pumped into him in the previous game. We can go find Cleaver again for another mission at this point. He proposes a race and bets a shitty buggy against Dexter, who he intends to turn into barbecue, and Jak accepts, naturally, because he's an asshole. Of course, this is yet another tutorial. The buggy does everything you would expect a car to do in a video game, so there isn't much to talk about here. Let's instead skip to the part where I complain about the handling. It's pretty bad. The buggy slides all over the place in response to the smallest inputs and flips over almost as easily. To be fair, that is probably what it feels like to drive over dunes in the desert, but I can't say I enjoy it. The vehicles respond a little too well to bumps and height variations in the terrain. It is very much possible to get used to it, and it is in fact a must in order to beat the game. But even after I did, I still felt more annoyed than anything piloting these things. Anyway, the race is not hard even with me shitting myself over the controls and fucking up constantly. It's mostly about collecting the light balls placed around the track to get turbo boosts and using them in straight sections. The next few missions are pretty fillerish. First, a drive around the desert collecting junk, which nets us a piece of armor that increases Jak's total health. These are given out as we go through the main story, and I think it's a bit of a waste not to give at least a few of them as rewards for exploration. Then a race against the monks on the leaper lizards. The monk girl is named Seam, and she's still not a fan of Jak's.
You are still here?
Yeah, we thought we'd hang out, catch some rays.
This isn't a game.
Haha, I get it, because it is a game. She wants a crystal he took from the spooky satellite and wages another crystal against it. I'm pretty sure Jak has no idea what these are for, but he accepts. These monks don't seem to know jumping makes the lizard go faster. She points out a large bright star in the sky, the Day Star, and claims it's getting closer. It's a bit of a Majora's Mask situation, and I love myself some cosmic horror. The star is constantly visible as we cross the desert. It's a really cool visual. And finally, a hunt for these big dinosaur things where we get introduced to the concept of mounted guns on cars for maximum 2000 Zedge Kino. The dinos can take a lot of damage, and chasing them in this very uneven terrain is especially awkward. Very crappy mission. Turns out these huge things were glorified delivery boys and were supposed to transport more crystals. We see a hologram of their boss and he seems to know Jak. I'm sure that's nothing important. We're now ready for the second arena challenge for Shithole Desert City citizenship. There's no shortage of able-bodied people in the middle of the desert, so naturally it involves killing even more bondage slaves, 30 to be exact. And apparently every citizen has to go through this. I don't know, sounds very unsustainable. This is a level of ritual human sacrifice that would make the Aztecs blush. Well, I guess there's no blood, so it's fine. We got a new upgrade for our gun. In Jak 3, on top of the 4 basic gun types from the second game, we also get 2 different modes for each, totaling 12 different guns. This one's an alternate mode for the shotgun. Jak shoots down and creates a wave that expands outwards. It can be charged for a larger area of effect, but that costs more ammunition. It's good for dealing with hordes of enemies.
You did very well, Jak. You make me proud that our training program is so good.
Here comes the father figure subplot.
You have a reputation for being rash. Didn't your father ever tell you to pick your battles wisely?
I didn't know my father.
Called it. Well, get ready for one of the worst fucking missions in the game. Boy, I can't wait. Remember hurting the goats in Twilight Princess? Okay, now imagine the goats blew up and caused the minigame to fail if they touched anything. Now make it worse. Did I say I like the leaper lizards a few minutes ago? Sorry, I meant fuck these pieces of shit. The way this works is, we approach a lizard from behind with our buggy, and Dexter leaps onto it. At this point, control changes to him. We now have to guide the lizard to the fenced area at the center of this abandoned village while it fights back. It refuses to go straight and refuses to slow down. Hit anything and the mission is over. Run over the cacti that's growing all around and the mission is also over. It's hard to convey how fucking shit this feels, but it's easy to show how broken it is. If Dexter decides to take his leap close to a wall, we can be certain that he'll hit it as soon as we take control with zero chance of survival. At least we get a checkpoint every time we manage to get one of the lizards into the pen. If this was Jak 2, we'd be fucked. At least as a reward, we get the best car in the game, the Dune Hopper. It's not the fastest or the best handling, but it's by far the most fun. The name says it all. It can jump, and by jump I mean jump. It also shoots grenades or something. With it, we can hop over these little islands to get to a temple. I don't think anyone tells us to come here. The icon just pops on the minimap once we get the Dune Hopper, and honestly I kinda like it. I just saw these little islands and wanted to see what they led to. Of course, this is essentially just arrow following and far from ideal, but the way the desert is laid out, I don't really think there was much of an alternative. I like the visuals here. Our objective is to platform our way to the top, as subtly implied by this cutscene that exists solely to leave Jak right in front of this set of platforms to just scream, "Jump on me." The level features a mix of simple platforms and those poles we can swing from, and everything is very well contextualized as features of the temple architecture. I love this sort of thing. It helps wonders with immersion. It's not just a bunch of unexplained platforms floating around. There are no enemies here, it's just pure platforming, which is a welcome break. At the very top, Jak and Dexter find a hang glider. Sim had mentioned before that an expedition of monks got lost in a volcano, and Jak suggests they must have gotten there by using one of these. Of course, this means we're taking it and going there. It's just Superman 64, but it's cool to see the entire desert from above, so I won't bitch too much. Naughty Dog showing off their technical wizardry again. After crash landing into the volcano, we find ourselves in a dark cave with a weird artifact that must be evil because it's purple. There's also an eye that makes a bunch of spears come out of the walls if we approach it. I'm sure that'll be important later. Leaving the cave, we find ourselves in a crater. Lava everywhere, of course, but quite a bit of vegetation too, so it looks quite nice. There's a leaper lizard here we can catch to make the level even better. And yes, this level is really good. It's very well designed and full of ideas. After the lizard section, even Dexter gets to do something. He was playable in Jak 2, but only very briefly. Here he's utilized a bit more, mostly in these monkey bar sections where he is used to access areas Jak's too big to get to and open up a path. It's not just monkey bars though, he gets to do some real platforming and even a little combat, and he controls great, better than Jak even. The volcano has everything, it's a very complete level. It may just be the best designed in the game for how unassuming it is, which makes sense. It's the first big linear course, the developers probably wanted to go all out. Platforming, light puzzling, lizard riding, playing as Dexter, and combat, which, well, might as well get into it. So we got another weapon mod as a reward for beating the second arena challenge, and well, I hope you enjoyed the game so far because it's over now, at least as far as the combat is concerned. Jak 3's combat feels like, and really should be, a straight improvement over 2. We have everything we had in that game in this really cool, at least on paper, weapon mod system. We just saw how the modded shotgun can be used for crowd control, for example, and that's just the first one. The problem is that the beam reflexor is so ridiculously overpowered nothing else in the game matters. It's the best and easiest solution 90% of the time, and for the remaining 10% it's still very viable. And we get it before we even have every base gun form. So what is the beam reflexor? Well, you shoot in any direction and the beam bounces off of enemies, walls, anything, hitting multiple targets without even requiring aiming, and it's far from weak. From this point on, we don't even have to pay attention to enemies. Just press the R1 button whenever something shows up and keep doing whatever you were doing, who cares? Jak 2 was a hard game. It's probably probably the second most notable thing about that game, after the whiplash of going from happy-go-lucky banjo wannabe to 2000s teenage angst edge Kino. To me, that difficulty elevated the game quite a lot by highlighting its complex and well thought out mechanics and level design, but a lot of people, especially back in the day, were put off by it. Jak 2 is a frustrating game and it was criticized for it, and Naughty Dog listened. Jak 3 overcorrected. It's a very easy game. This by itself is not necessarily bad. I'm not here to flash my gamer cred and LARP about how I only play hard games. The problem with Jak 3 is that it's very poorly balanced. The tools that we're given are too powerful for the content that's presented. I'd argue Jak 3 has better level design than the second game. I praised a few linear levels there, but they were few and far between, and instead most missions took place in constantly recycled areas, slightly modified with new gimmicks each time. Jak 3 has many unique areas that offer their own takes on platforming, puzzling, and combat challenges, and they're all really good. It also features a greatly expanded combat system, but those two things don't fit well together at all. Jak 2 had an elegance to its design. It felt as if every aspect of it worked together to elevate the whole. Meanwhile, it feels like Jak 3 is doing less with more, and I feel the greatly reduced difficulty and the ridiculously overpowered beam reflexer are both to blame. So this gun is too overpowered. What's the big deal? Just don't use it. Well, it's all good if you can improve your experience of a game by choosing to play with any number of arbitrary limitations, but that doesn't really justify the poor choices of the developers. It's their job to balance the game, not the players. All of this is not to say Jak 3 is made unenjoyable by this problem. If anything, there's fun to be had in being overpowered. What I do think is that this breaks a lot of systems in the game and ultimately makes it less interesting. Well, rant's over. Jak and Dexter find a petrified monk holding some artifact, and when he touches it, Jak becomes invisible. This is yet another cool but underutilized new mechanic from Jak 3, Eco Powers. There are a bunch of them that we'll unlock as we go through the game, and most of them are only used to open a door or two and never again. The invisibility allows us to get past the eye thing at the starting area of the volcano, and take a portal back to the temple. There's another eye here guarding a door that we can now also go through. The temple is full of puzzles that also utilize the new mechanic, and they're fine. Mostly just come down to quickly navigating obstacles before the invisibility runs out, but it never evolves beyond that. And the game promptly forgets about it as soon as this mission is over, so enjoy it while it lasts. Still, I'm a big fan of the idea of exploring ancient ruins, so I like the area. We soon reach a large chamber with a statue and find Duke Asshole speaking to Seam on a balcony.
The Daystar approaches. You know what it brings.
Unfortunate, yes. We will deal with that as soon as I have full access to the catacombs. Just continue your work, and I'll deal with those idiots in Haven. I promise. You will meet your makers.
Why are the catacombs so important?
Why indeed, Jak? Why indeed?
Greetings, great warrior. Your return brings us great hope.
Glad to see the Precursor statues found a less stupid voice since the last game. The statue gives us yet another power, and surprisingly, this one's pretty good. It allows us to spend some light eco energy collectible from enemies to recover our health. Of course, this makes an already very easy game even easier, but that's pissing in the ocean at this point. We can go through a nearby portal to get back to the temple entrance. Let's get back to the city already so we can deal with the filler missions before the story can move forward. The first is another drive through the desert that ends with a very awkward pseudo-boss fight with a thing. We shoot it with the beam reflector and the projectiles keep bouncing off the dead body of the guy we were supposed to rescue. Very disrespectful. The other one is target practice with the turret.
That gun turret used to be the only thing that stood between us and the desert's cruel kiss. I used to be the tall puppy on that baby. Wanna try to beat me, Score?
Oh, don't worry. Jak beats things all the time. Hey, Jak?
He means his wiener. It's a very clever joke. Classy even. I thought it was funny. Nothing to comment on the mission. And now the time has come for the final arena trial. Soon we'll have our Spargus passport and they won't be able to deport us anymore. Before the fight, Deimos gives us a Vulcan, a machine gun. It was very good in Jak 2, but now we have the beam reflexor. This time around the mission takes place over narrow walkways, and the enemies have actual guns. The main part of the arena still gets periodically submerged into the lava, and we have to find one of these small platforms to stand on. Sig, the mentor guy who faked dies in the previous game, is here fighting in the arena Selena, and he and Jack refuse to kill each other. This greatly angers Damas, who demands more blood for the blood god. He wants to kill us both for defiling the sanctity of his human sacrifice ritual. It should be weird if they try to make us care for this absolute psychopath at this point. I'm sure this plot points and aspect of his moral character won't be swept under the rug in 15 minutes. So Damas is gonna sweep this under the rug now because Sig was a spy in Haven City and he needs us to do a few chores for him. Well, I can't call him a fanatic, I guess, I'll give him that. So we hop onto Sig's buggy and off we go to kill some fucking insects in a cave or something. We're supposed to destroy a bunch of insects and get out of the cave once it gets filled with gas. Sig's car has a machine gun mounted on it that aims automatically, so that's convenient. Once we make it back to the city, we get a call from Ashlyn, the girl with the jiggle physics from the intro cutscene. She needs to see us and tells us to meet her by the Oasis. Yeah, this is a combat encounter, so I'll let you guess how it goes. A sandstorm kicks up and gets progressively more intense as the fight goes on, but we don't really need to see to spam the beam reflector. It's a cool set piece though.
Kira wanted me to give you this. Jack, your friends need you. I need you.
The city threw me out, remember? They can rot for all I care.
But what about your...
Get it! Just leave. I have new friends now.
So the hero I knew did die in the desert? Or was it long before that? Don't you remember who you are?
I'm through saving the world.
Oh man, I just love the angst. We get the jet board from Jak 2 as a reward. It's a skateboard. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was popular at the time, so they just couldn't help themselves. It's fun to use, but the desert is a little too big for it. We have to go back to the temple now. The amulet Ashlyn gave us opens a new door there. We just got the jet board, so of course this level is built around it. We have to navigate this large flooded area while collecting floating, totally not yin-yang symbols in order to open a door. It's a tutorial for anyone who hasn't played Jak 2. It introduces and requires the use of every jet board mechanic in a controlled environment, but for everybody else it's just a nice, well-designed little obstacle course. A welcome reminder too if you haven't played Jak 2 in a while.
Behold the pure power of light. We offer what little we have in this dire moment.
Alright, no ability to be forgotten in a few minutes. It's a time freeze and it's basically never used again after this level, so enjoy while it lasts. Even here the puzzles never get more complex than, oh boy, this sure is going fast. I can't make it. I know, I'll just use the new ability I got. It would be a lot more interesting if the game had some obstacles that were traversable by normal means but were made easier with the new ability. You know, introduce some player choice, but no, this is all we get. This whole light and dark ability thing is extremely undercooked. We eventually make it to a lift that takes us to some surprisingly well-kept ancient precursor underground train station. We play Tempest for a bit and make it to a different station, where we find a spectral precursor, and apparently there's nothing special about these anymore, despite one of them being one of the big reveals at the end of Jak 2. Nobody even acknowledges him. Anyway, he gives Jak yet another ability we'll never use again, a shield this time around. I'll be honest, I forgot all about it immediately. I couldn't have told you this was in the game before rewatching my footage. Anyway, one more lift ride and we make it to some kind of old eco mine.
It looks like some kind of old eco mine.
It's a cool level, quite vertical despite still being really linear. I don't mean this is a negative, by the way. The way I see it, Naughty Dog is at its best making very focused linear levels. While the layout is good, the combat aspect is, well... This is gonna get really repetitive if I have to keep bringing it up, so I'll refrain from it from now on. Just assume any enemy encounter is not even worth noting unless I bring specific attention to it. At first, the level is about making it to the bottom part of the mine by platforming and shooting down parts of the scenery to create bridges. It then transitions into a cave area where we have to kick these critters into wheels to power mechanisms that raise up bridges and move platforms, so we can make it across gaps. This feels like animal cruelty. Add that to Jak's extensive list of crimes, I guess. Then we make it to a large facility and are introduced to the gimmick of the final third of the level, a minecart full of explosives. We have to guide it through the level, shooting at targets that lower sections of the track so that it won't fall through. I know I just said I wasn't going to keep bringing this up, but I'm sorry. The beam reflector even targets those from off screen. We don't even have to know where the targets are, just keep going and mashing R1 and everything will be fine. This is completely broken. Also, see these tracks that totally look think like you should be able to grind on them with the jet board? Well, you can't. Fuck you. This is the type of design oversight that I wouldn't expect from a Naughty Dog game. It's even worse when you consider you're actually expected to use the jet board in this level. It kinda sucks that there are so many problems here, because this mission has everything to be awesome. It's long and complex and full of unique ideas, but when everything is put together it just becomes kind of a mess. Kind of like this game really. It's small details bringing the whole thing down a notch. All that being said, the level design itself is still strong enough to make it ultimately enjoyable. The explosives open up a large metal door, and just past it, Count Fuck what awaits us.
The monks told me you were coming through the Precursor subrails. Interesting, aren't they? The Precursors used them to build the world countless eons ago. The rail system leads deep into the planet, where it's said the Ancient Ones wait to bestow unimaginable powers upon the worthy. I will save the world with that power, just as Mar did.
Yeah, you've done a great job so far, letting the metalheads destroy the palace.
Oh, you couldn't be more mistaken, dear boy. We're on a time clock, Jack. That light in the sky, do you know what it is? Our nightmare has found us and the end is coming. I needed quick access to the catacombs below, so I attacked the palace myself. It will be our little secret.
Well, you're full of surprises.
And you're full of dark eco. You and your rat are an abomination.
I mean, he's kind of got a point. Jack is a criminal asshole. Of course the game's themes are all about balance, as subtly implied by the fucking yin-yang thing plastered on the screen at all times. So we can assume his plan won't work because he keeps talking about light being better than darkness like it's Kingdom Hearts. He sets off some precursor robot to deal with us and fucks off. It's a boss fight. It's okay. Very easy, but it reminds me of Entropy's fight from Crash 3, and that gives me a warm feeling that I don't feel very often anymore, so I'll give it a few points. It's not just Entropy, this feels like a Crash boss fight in general. The good thing about this dodge and wait for the glowing weak spot style is that fights can't be trivialized by overpowered weapons. Can you imagine bosses in this game if the hitbox was always active? I praise Jak 2 for ditching this style for an always vulnerable, more symmetrical design, but that game was actually well balanced. Well, I just realized Jak 3 made one design choice that's actually complementary to another. Kudos for that. After we dodge its attacks a bit, the robot will raise a few pillars from the ground. We have to climb them and shoot the minecarts hanging from the wall so they'll hit it. Repeats 3 times and it stops coming back.
Oh yeah! The boys are back in town!
Let's go topside and see what kind of trouble we can get into.
Man, I can't hate Jak. He feels straight out of a DeviantArt comic. Behind the door is another lift. I feel like we've been through a lot of these in the past half hour or so, and it takes us to Haven City from the second game.
This place looks as bad as my old bedroom back home.
Jack! Over here!
Samos! Kira!
Ah, Samos! Still as green as the stuff between my toes.
Ew, what happened to Kira? Why does she keep getting uglier every game? Also, why isn't she saying anything? She's just standing there like she's brain dead, looking at the pretty butterflies. Well, I'm sure it's nothing and she'll have just as important a role to play here as in the other games. Anyway, shit's still fucked in the city and Jak is still pissy about being exiled, nothing new. We can't get past this force field, so we'll have to take the sewers, but one of the 30 enemy factions that blend into one another is advancing through it, so it won't be easy. Okay, it's really easy, but man, I'll keep saying it. The level design in this game is fucking fantastic, and so are the visuals. It's so good I'm deeply engrossed in the fucking sewer level. These stages are long and I don't feel like they're ever overstaying their welcome. No two rooms feel the same. There are new ideas at the turn of every corner, and the platforming and jetboarding feel great. I can't lie. If you've been paying attention to my rants, you might at this point think that I don't like the game, and I think there's a lot wrong with it, but the truth is, I'm having a fucking blast. I'm all in at this point. I am really invested. I'm just having a lot of fun. We exit the sewers and find ourselves at the port area of Haven City, and it looks just as it did in Jak 2. Maybe a little too much is what I thought at first. I wasn't a fan of Haven City in that game. I thought it was too large and empty and mostly there for the sake of padding. I said I wish it had more room for platforming and more incentives for exploration. Well, it turns out Jak 3 fixes pretty much all my issues with Haven City. Let's talk a bit about exploration in Jak 3. For exploration to be meaningful in a game, it needs incentives. Jak 1 was a collectathon platformer, so it didn't really have any trouble with this. Shiny collectibles littered every inch of every stage. Jak 2 moved away from that. and now it only had a few precursor orbs placed sparingly in corners. They were too few and far between and were only used to unlock cheats pretty much. Also, they weren't anywhere in the main part of the city. Jak 3 has a lot more precursor orbs. They're also hidden a lot more creatively, often in hard to reach places, so platforming and jetboarding are required to get to them. They're also everywhere in the game's main settlements, not only in Haven City but in Spargus too. Finally, they've been made a lot more useful. We can now purchase gun upgrades with them. Ammo capacity, damage, the usual deal. Of course, this makes the beam reflexor situation even more dire, but let's not dwell on that. Even the linear levels now have small hidden side areas where we can find precursor orbs, and they're also awarded from side missions. Going through Haven City on foot was not viable in Jak 2. The place was just too big. This might have contributed to the decision not to put much platforming content in it. We were supposed to drive. Jak 3 keeps the city at the same scale, but the destruction is a convenient excuse to keep us confined to a smaller part of it, which can be more densely packed with content. This also significantly cuts down on the time it takes to move between objectives.
Ah, the naughty Otzel. Honey, I'm home.
Jak, I never thought I'd see you again.
Torn?
Oh shit, it's Torn. I totally remembered his name. He explains, guess what? Shit's fucked. Blow up a few robots, yada yada. Feels like I'm playing Jak 2 again, only a lot easier and with less murder. Mar excitedly calls Ashlyn to gossip about Jak being back in town, but the transmission gets hijacked by the same guy whose hologram we saw in the desert with the dinosaurs. Turns out it's the Baron's fucking yes man from the second game, Errol, who blew himself up in a hissy fit after losing a race. Scraping the bottom of the barrel for villains, are we? Anyway, we need to break through a Crimson Guard position, that's Errol's faction by the way, to link up with the rest of Ashlyn's group. But first, a few filler missions. Destroy a barricade, blow up a few cannons, fuck around at the shooting range.
Dexter! You're back! Oh, did that mean old desert burn your itty-bitty paws?
Dude, how does Dexter keep winning so hard? Jak is stuck with Kira, who lost the ability to speak and hit the wall at fucking 18, and Dexter gets this? Holy shit. Anyway, now we get to move forward with the story a little. Korn wants us to get back into the sewers and kill some metalheads. In terms of visuals, this is unsurprisingly very similar to the previous sewer mission. In terms of design, it's entirely unique, and very good once again. I like this part where after dodging fire from a turret while riding a platform, we can use our jetboard to follow this pipe and find a secret platform that leads to a secret room that contains a few precursor orbs. This is so cool. It's exactly what Jak 2 was missing. The obligatory lift this time around takes us to what used to be the farm sector in Jak 2. It's now full of metalheads. We need to destroy some dark eco thingies, whatever. We do that by navigating the area via jetboard, grinding on tendrils and using these bulbs that launch us into the air. I like the metalhead aesthetic. I commented on it briefly in my Jak 2 video. It looks really alien. It's also really cool to revisit areas from the previous game and see how they've changed. We got another useless ability after this mission, by the way. Press R1 as Dark Jak to break this specific type of wall every once in a while. Maybe it's usable in combat, I wouldn't know, I never used Dark Jak. I doubt it's as powerful as the gun that shall not be named. Same as the green dude asks us to run a few errands for him while we're near the forest. Remember the one objective in Jak 1 where we had to spray pesticide over a few plants? It's like that, but it's a whole mission.
Jak, you can kill those plants with your jetboard. Just scoop up green eco energy and then lay it down over the plants.
Oh shit, is that Kira? No wonder she didn't say anything before. She sounds all wrong. What the fuck did they do to her? Well, it's time to drop the act already. Kira is barely in this game, which is weird because she was sort of Jak's main love interest in the previous two games, and also pretty relevant to the plot. She's the one who built the time machine that brought everyone here in the first place. Now she shows up in a cutscene and doesn't say anything, then gets a 6-second line in a random tutorial transmission an hour later. It feels like the developers were just hoping that by sneakily giving her less and less lines, we'd forget about her and not notice that she's basically gone. There's a lot of speculation as to why this is the case. And the one clue we do have is the fact that her voice actress was changed. Whether they changed the actress because she had so few lines or she had so few lines because they changed the actress is kind of a chicken and egg situation. But it's honestly weird either way because it's not like they got some nobody to voice her. I'm not big into cartoons that don't come from China, but as far as I can tell, Tara Strong is pretty well known. And regardless, the way they did it feels really weird. Like they just had to change it at the last minute. A falling out maybe? It makes sense if they had already recorded a bunch of lines and then had to cut them for some reason. Tara Strong was already voicing Seam, so maybe they got her to do the bare minimum just so they wouldn't have to kill Kira off to explain her not being in the game. I mean, it's just speculation, I don't fucking know. Anyway, the level is fine, it's a jetboard track, and these are usually fun. A bunch of platforms show up in the lake once we're done, but we can't do anything with them for now. Next we have to help an old friend, the explosives guy from Jak 2, and it even sounds like a mission straight out of Jak 2. Drive him somewhere and kill stuff while he plants a bomb, then escape. Repeat 4 times. What's not like Jak 2 is the fact that the starting point is not a 20-minute drive away from where we get the mission, and it also won't take us 20 attempts to complete. It's very easy, in fact. Next we have to steal a shipment of explosives and lose a bunch of missiles. This entire part of the game feels like Diet Jak 2, but to be fair, the driving missions were the worst part of that game, so I'd rather they be quick and easy. Then there's this very strange mission where we have to fight waves of KG bots and metalheads from a fixed top-down perspective, and without our normal weapon loadout. Weapon upgrades are temporary and spawn in the middle of the screen instead. This never happens again. One more shooting gallery mission, and Thor is finally moving forward with a plan to connect his forces with Ashland's. The way we'll do that is by controlling a KG robot with a PSP. The robot itself is very overpowered, so it's a breeze, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't satisfying. Before we go see Ashland, we have to go back to the desert for a bit and run a few errands for Damas and Cleaver. These include collecting more junk in the desert, blowing up more insects, blowing up more dinosaurs, and this terrible mission where we have to chase down and destroy Mad Max guys on an extremely tight timer. Seriously, this is a good contender for the hardest mission in the game in my opinion, which is not that high of a bar, but still, it might have made me rage just a little bit. Maybe. I did feel pretty cool whenever I managed to snipe one of them while jumping with the June Hopper though. Some of the junk we collected is linked to the forest pillars, so that's where we're going next. Jetboard time. There are a few statues here that activate when we get near them now. Interacting with them causes light rings to show up, and you should know what this means. They don't give us much time to react from one ring to the next, but it's mostly fine. Taking a wrong turn will most likely result in a timer running out, but we can just try again right away. Only the last one kind of pissed me off because I completely forgot about this high jump mechanic. I honestly thought they were introducing it here in 2 seconds in the middle of a timed challenge. Then I rewatched the footage for the temple section after we got the board, and they did teach us to do it, so I guess it was kind of my fault. Oops. Each statue explodes after we go through the last ring and causes a platform to rise around the pillar. With all of them raised, we can go check out whatever's up there.
Approach the Astro Viewer, Time Warrior. Behold the seed of our destruction.
What? Let me see! Is she hot?
We precursors built many worlds across the universe, shaping them with Eco into something good, but we were foolish. The Dark Makers were once precursors, but their exposure to Dark Eco changed them. Now the Dark Ones have found your world and are coming to claim it for themselves.
Well, I could ruin your whole day!
I think this one's bigger than both of us.
There is but one hope left. You will find a planetary defense system hidden deep at the core of the planet.
So that was a lot of exposition, and honestly I don't like much of it. They're going for a panspermia sort of deal here for the creation of a planet, with the precursors sending seeds of life to planets and these evil precursors, the Dark Makers, destroying them. The Daystar, as it turns out, is some alien ship, which I think is a lot more boring than some cosmic horror planetary body like the Moon from Majora's Mask or Ramina from Hellstar Ramina, or even Meteor from Final Fantasy VII. If anything, this is basically Evangelion, but a lot less interesting. Some things are better left a mystery, and this is not the only review in this game that makes the backstory more boring, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Well, anyway, we have our new objective: get into the catacombs and activate the planetary defense system to destroy the Daystar. When we destroyed that barrier earlier, we opened up the way to the fancy downtown area of Haven City. I felt this part of the city was really undercooked in Jak 2, even for that game's standards, and again I must say they fixed it. It looks better, it's better laid out, and it features some very welcome excuses for exploration. We can go see Ashland here at the huge building with the very silly name of Freedom HQ. The gang is repeating the exposition we just witnessed 5 minutes ago when they're interrupted by an alarm. Okay, where were we? Oh yeah, everyone was jacking Jack off. Oh hey, it's Count Conchula.
Are you sure you want this dark eco freak contaminating the hallowed halls of our glorious precursors? I should lead the expedition myself.
We're tired of your scheming, Viger. I hereby dissolve the city council and strip you of your title, command, and all privileges. Now get out of my sight.
Why didn't you do this from the start if you had the power to? Why let him throw Jack in the desert to die if you could have just told him to fuck off? Am I missing something? Well, Ashlyn wants us to deal with the KG bots by destroying their factory, but we need to hack their defenses first. And in order to do that, we need to take yet another stroll through the sewers to deactivate some electric fence. I praised the previous sewer levels, and to be fair, the level design is still good here. It's even more platforming focused than the others, with laser patterns for us to navigate and moving platforms over water currents. But really? Another one? If you were going to recycle visual assets, you could at least have chosen a more stimulating setting to use 3 times.
Ah, remember this place? I sure miss good old Vin.
Yeah, he was a good guy. A bit crazy.
Hey, who you calling crazy? I can't help it if the world is out to get me. Vin!
Oh hey, it's the annoying scientist guy who died in the last game. He uploaded his mind to the Matrix or something and now he's going to help us. So put on your hoodie and Guy Fawkes mask, plug in 3 keyboards to your PC, turn on incognito mode and open up the terminal because it's hacking time. And obviously, the way you hack computers is through the shittiest Pac-Man clone you've ever played. The objective here is to eat all the pellets while avoiding this guy. Dexter moves clockwise automatically, and we can move him between layers of the maze. The little virus thing does pretty much the same but counterclockwise. It changes layers without any notice, and so it's best to always try to be at least 2 layers away from it. It's not very good. Time to break into the KG factory. The whole place is suspended high over the city, so I take this flying ship. This is another wholly unique new mechanic that only shows up for 1 mission. It's kind of impressive how much Naughty Dog was willing to dedicate development time for these. We're supposed to destroy some defenses before we can land, and the ship we're in is equipped with a basic blaster and with bombs. Just look for the objectives on the minimap and blow them up. The hitboxes are kind of weird. I was having more luck ramming the ship into them, but overall the mission is harmless at worst. I like how we can see landmarks from Jak 2 below, including ones we never get to visit in this game. Man, Jak 3 sure likes lifts. This is the weapons factory, another great level. It has some similarities to the Jak 2 level weapons factory, but it's a lot longer, more complex and more interesting, even with the combat being basically non-existent. It's very good, but this right here pisses me off. Remember the time slowing ability we got 1,000,000 years ago? No? Can't blame you. I'd give you a refresher, but I think the name says it all. Well, we have these giant fans blocking our way. I was a bit stumped when I got here. I didn't know what to do. Then I remembered the ability. I had to go check how to activate it because it hadn't been used once since we got it, but I was sure this would work. It didn't. Jak just gets pushed back anyway. What this tells me is not even the developers remember this mechanic they put into the game. Well, that aside, this is a very complete level. We get to control Dexter multiple times and even drive a vehicle inside this massive facility. Maybe it's a little too massive though. Maybe I'm retarded, but I did manage to get lost for a bit, which is strange for such a linear level. The city below makes it hard for me to complain about the visuals here, but the factory itself does look pretty bland and samey. It lacks landmarks to help keep players from accidentally backtracking. It doesn't help either that this elevator doesn't immediately activate when we step on it, so I assumed the broom was a dead end. Gee, I wonder if this is leading to a boss fight.
Some new friends to help me conquer this puny little planet.
You're talking to the Darkmakers.
It seems my digital self can communicate with these poor, tortured minds quite well.
Whoa, I mean, it did kind of explode, but this is grotesque. If I had played this as a kid, it would have definitely given me nightmares. Now I think it looks kind of cool. It's another very Crash Bandicoot-esque boss fight. The way it goes is dodge a few bombs, kill a few enemies, and then hit a robot under the platform Arrow is standing on, so it'll fly up and hit him. 4 phases and he starts breaking the floor starting on the second, which is also very Crash Bandicoot.
Got away!
See you later, Mechanator! Jak! The sky is falling! robot goon and kicked his nuts!
So that's a bit of an awkward cut. Everyone jacks Jack off a little more, still not tired of this joke. And as we ride the lift on Freedom HQ, Seam calls for help. The Monk Temple is being attacked by Arrow's forces and we need to go bail her out. Since when has Seam known about Arrow? Whatever, man. So we go through the temple again and get one more power up, but surprisingly this one is good. It's a flight ability. A little awkward at first, timing Express's ride is what determines how much height we get to keep, but it is a straight upgrade to our moveset and opens up more possibilities for exploration, so it can't be bad. What is kinda bad is the route we need to take through the temple now to reach Seam. It's not well communicated at all. I'm not asking for yellow paint, but maybe remove some of the platforms that lead nowhere, especially when we're still getting used to the new controls. Seam is waiting next to an opening on the wall and doesn't seem like she's really in danger. She says that Arrow has connected with the Dark Makers and gives us some precursor crap that I'm guessing will probably be used to activate some more precursor crap. As we leave the temple, Deimos calls us to Spargas, which is also under attack. We have to use the turret from that minigame hours ago to kill these huge Dark Maker things. I didn't understand at first that we were supposed to shoot at various different parts of it because the radical icons over the targets are so faded. So I wasted a few minutes shooting the first one in the face, wondering what I was doing wrong. Embarrassing brain farts aside, it's nothing to write home about. Very easy and not very interesting. It's what you'd expect from a turret mission. Deimos reveals he used to be the leader of Haven City before he was exiled following a coup by Baron Praxis from the last game. I don't know, man. At least Baron Praxis didn't sponsor gladiator matches to the death. It might have been for the best. He gives Jack a beacon he can use to call him and a piece of armor he was saving for his long-lost son. Oh boy. Oh, I'm too gruff and manly to say that I see you as a son, but it's obvious that that's what the plot is hinting at. Oh, I'm too edgy to say that I see you as a father despite you being a psycho, but it's obvious that I do for some reason. As soon as this touching scene is over, Samus calls to tell us that we have to find a way to turn off the Dark Maker's ship defense systems, and he has a feeling that the answer lies in the pillar back in the forest. Instead of rushing there, let's fuck around with their new flight ability for a little bit and get some orbs. There are a lot of them in Spargas and they're a lot of fun to go after. I'm a big fan of exploring these urban environments in video games, especially platformers. Finding a way to make it to the highest parts of the town would be rewarding, even if all we got out of it was a nice view. And the precursor orbs are just a cherry on top. Okay, we're done. The forest is full of, I guess, Dark Makers. Our objective is to destroy these weird flowers with the turrets conveniently placed near each group of 3 of them. The Dark Makers can use the turrets too, and dislodging them can be kind of annoying. Still, destroyed flowers stay that way even if we die, so the mission can be easily brute forced. Without the flowers destroyed, we can climb the pillar again. Seems artifact slots right into the mechanism on top of it, and Jack's mind is transferred to some machine aboard the Dark Maker ship. Oh shit, I recognize these controls. The robot has a shield that never has to be used because there's plenty of health just to tank everything. It can also punch shit and move blocks. It's better than the robot levels in Jak 2 at least, and more importantly, it only shows up once. There's some platforming and in the end we punch some balls into whatever the fuck this is supposed to be, and that deactivates the shields. We're very close to the end now. Thar is heading a mission to blow a hole in the Metalhead nest in the farm sector, and Ashlyn says we're in charge of escorting him. I guess this counts as a turret mission, but surprisingly I kind of enjoyed it. It feels more like one of those old light gun shooters like the House of the Dead. The camera goes all over the place and enemies keep jumping on top of us one after the other like it's choreographed. I wonder who gave the order to place all these robots behind 100 explosive barrels. It's either someone who really sucks at tactics or someone with a sense of humor.
Oh yeah, they hurting now. Move and groove, Chili Pepper.
All right, it's payback time. You ready to rock, Dax?
You mean go in that place? Jack, maybe I'll stay here and, protect Sig.
So Sega's just gave us our last weapon upgrade. I haven't been mentioning these because, you know, but this one's kinda cool. It's a fucking nuke. We're actually using this one later. This next level is kind of a combat gauntlet where the path forward is revealed when we beat every enemy in a section, so take a guess how it goes. After taking a lift, we find Arrow. He talks about how it's too late, blah blah, then jumps into a portal. Sig shows up in a ship, Jack jumps on it, and cue explosion. Wow. At this point, the fighting has reached Freedom HQ, things are dire. It's time to go into the catacombs and put an end to all this. The entrance is in the Metalhead occupied part of the city and it's a complete mess. We need our new flight ability to get past the rubble that leads there. This is the part of the city that's in the worst condition. Basically, no structures are still standing. Calling these ruins would be a bit of a euphemism. Seeing all the Metalheads, Daxter suggests Jack uses the beacon Damas gave him to call the Wastelanders, and they're surprised they don't show up immediately like it's some Kingdom Hearts summon or something. Did you expect them to materialize as soon as you press the button? This place is awesome. The ruined city is a great setting and allows for plenty of secrets to be hidden, especially now that we can fly. There are precursor orbs everywhere waiting to be collected. This setting is also greatly conducive to environmental storytelling. I love how we can find the Colosseum from Jak 2 here. It's entirely optional, but getting to it rewards us with a bunch of collectibles. The one thing I found to be kind of dumb here is the fact that we're expected to keep changing into Dark Jak to break these walls. It's a waste of time and adds nothing to the level. That aside, this is probably my favorite part of the game.
Where have you been? I've molted 3 times already just waiting for you. Onan says we must get through the palace ruins, but I think... Uh-oh.
Jak, let me just say, before it's all over, riding on your shoulder, although it is kind of bony and uncomfortable, well, you've been a good pal.
Dude, there's no way you can convince me Jak couldn't take 3 of these things, but okay. We're setting up a rescue scene, I get it. Gotta admit, the signal thing may not be magical, but Damas still got here pretty damn fast. And now we're playing a vehicle level where we have to break these generator things or whatever they are in order to turn off the energy shields that are impeding our progress. It reminds me of that Shadow Car mission from Sonic 06, and being compared to Sonic 06 is usually not a good sign. To be fair, it's not terrible or anything, the setting is still cool, but it's not exactly great either. I guess we needed a final big car mission since that's such a central mechanic in the game.
Deimos!
Not bad driving, kid. It was a good fight. And a good day to die. Please, promise me one thing. Promise me you'll find my son, Mar. You'll know him when you see this. He's wearing an amulet just like it. A symbol of our lineage with the great House of Mar. Save the people, Jak. They need you.
So, Fake Daddy was Jak's real daddy after all, thanks to the time travel shenanigans from the second game. It feels obvious in retrospect, but I wasn't expecting this if I'm honest. I thought it was an okay twist. Also, Vigor was the one who took Jak from him because you're still supposed to hate him despite him doing basically nothing for the entire game. He jumps into the hole that leads to the catacombs and we follow him. More Tempest. Well, I hope you're ready for the big reveal.
It is for the greater good that I assume this role.
Even now, it may be too late. If Errol awakens the Dark Ship's cargo, all will be lost.
Listen, Glowboy, we've been doing all your dirty work while you slept in the stars, so stop it!
Inefficient. I told you we needed a backup hero. We should have gone with Plan B. Ow! Hey, cut it out! We are unhappy with your performance. If you had been a true hero, you would have stopped Errol by now.
Yeah, this is not a fake out. The mysterious precursors who created the world and left all those grandiose ruins and lost technology are comic relief. Needless to say, a lot of people weren't happy with this, and neither am I really. I get that they wanted to surprise the player, but I don't think the shock factor was worth turning the lore you had been building up for 3 games into this much of a joke. Honestly, I don't think there was a way they could have properly delivered a satisfying reveal for the precursors. Maybe they should have just kept this mystery unsolved. I still think back to the opening monologue by Samus for the first game.
I have spent my life searching for the answers that my father and my father's fathers failed to find. Who were the precursors? Why did they create the vast monoliths that litter our planet? How did they harness Eco the life energy of the world? What was their purpose? And why did they vanish? I have asked the plants, but they do not remember. The plants have asked the rocks, but the rocks do not recall. Even the rocks do not recall.
Man, that was cool. Reminds me of the Ring poem. Man, I don't know why I keep bringing up Lord of the Rings all the time. Whatever. This one little introduction did wonders to capture my imagination, even as a grown-ass man. And to think the payoff 3 games later would be this. I don't think this is exclusively a story-based game, so I wouldn't go as far as to say it ruins it, but it certainly brings it down a bit. Jak 3 is just not very well written. The characters are one-dimensional and predictable, and the overall plot is a mess written with plot holes and retcons, even if some individual moments are cool. And that's a shame because Jak 2 had a pretty good story with solid writing and interesting characters. This has been obvious for a while, but the reveal of the precursors might be the straw that broke the camel's back. I don't want to dwell too much on it because I don't think it's that big of a deal, but yeah, I can't defend this, it's pretty dumb. Anyway, the precursors are Dexter things. When our boy fell into the pool of Dark Eco in the first game, he was actually blessed, not cursed, to become one of them. Not that it gives him any powers or anything. Vigor wanted to become a precursor, so he's also turned into a rat. The squirrels open up a portal for Jak to board the Dark Maker's ship and stop Arrow from awakening all the Dark Makers aboard and destroying the world. We have to do that in a limited time, however, because the planetary defense system will destroy the ship. So why do we have to board it? Won't the laser just kill everything anyway? Fuck if I know. Final level. It's a timed run for the ship with all the platforming mechanics the game has to offer. The environment is not all that interesting and I wish the level was longer and more explorable, preferably without a 5-minute timer. It just doesn't feel as epic as I would have liked. And the section ends with, take a wild guess, yeah, a lift.
If these nasty things ever wake up, the planet's finished.
All of these Dark Makers at my command. Just think what I could do.
You're through, Arrow. Even if we both die.
He didn't really think that one through, did he? Oh yeah, Jak can fly now. Anyway, I still don't know why we had to come here, we didn't really do anything. Then we go through this sort of awkward escape sequence with fucked up physics and get transported to the most convenient place possible, by the also very conveniently placed portal that was in the ship for no adequately explained reason. And so begins one of the worst boss fights I've ever played. I can't fault the idea, it's pretty cool, and I can't say it doesn't fit either, but god fucking damn it, this shit sucks. Arrow's giant spider robot thing has 4 glowing pink weak spots around each of its feet. We have to shoot each of them once. Sounds simple? It isn't. We're stuck with this garbage buggy that only shoots straight and the thing is walking in the direction of the city, so the feet obviously don't stay in place for very long. The targets are never perfectly at ground level either. We have to find the right bumps with the right elevation to hit them. But that's not the worst part. Dealing with the ones on the back and sides of each foot is fine. The problem is getting to the front ones while the thing is constantly moving forward. Shit sucks, that's it. A poorly thought out attempt at a spectacle boss. The machine falls and now we have to climb what's left of it in a brief platforming section in order to reach Arrow and end all this. It's not a particularly engaging section and it's over as soon as it starts. I don't really know why they even put it here, to be honest. So this is it. The final boss. Fucking Mecha Smithers. Well, the good thing about that shitty spider is that now anything will look good in comparison. This is where we use the nukes. Before we can damage Arrow, we have to destroy these tentacles. Surprisingly, now at the 11th hour, the beam reflexor is not that great. The fight takes place on a platform. There are no walls for the bullets to bounce off of. The nukes destroy the tentacles in one hit and the infinitely spawning minions guarantee we will always have ammo. Once all the tentacles are destroyed, Arrow will start shooting lasers out of the robot's head, and in this phase he will occasionally expose its weak spot, which we can then shoot with pretty much anything. While we can't rely on you-know-what, we still have access to all the other overpowered shit we barely touched throughout the game, such as the healing. Arrow has 4 hit points and the fight is fairly long. It's engaging overall, but not as good as Metal Core from Jak 2. Boom. So, that was Jak 3. Dude, they're rubbing salt in the wound at this point. What the fuck? What did Kira do to deserve this sort of treatment? In the previous game, she and Jak always went for a kiss in the ending cutscene and got interrupted. Now Jak just kisses Ashlyn instead. This is pretty weird, but honestly, I don't really give much of a shit. It's not like Jak and Kira were wearing chastity belts or anything. Remember, these are like older teenagers. I think they're all supposed to be around 18. Hormones do some crazy shit. Also, shippers are subhuman anyway. Back in Spargus, the ruined backstory is getting ready to go back to its home planet and hopefully die in the way. And Jak is supposed to go with them to explore the universe and leave all his friends behind. You can't blame me for bringing up Lord of the Rings when the game is so obviously ripping off Lord of the Rings. So I will say it's like Lord of the Rings.
My life's work, it turns out, was spent searching for a bunch of furballs.
Yeah, I feel you, Samus. I'm disappointed too. Speaking of disappointment, Tess, Dexter's hot girlfriend, gets turned into a furry. Also, he gets bent. So Jak goes away to Valinor, but shows up again 5 seconds later. There's some debate as to what that means, but the way I see it, it's more time travel shit. Jak's original name, according to Damas, was Mar, the same as the founder of Haven City. What is implied is that he was that Mar, that he traveled back in time to found the city and close the time loop. This would also imply that he is his own great-great-grandfather or something, but let's not think too hard about that. Another, less interesting possibility is that he simply didn't go and this was all a setup to mirror the intro cutscene, where Dexter was supposed to go back to the city but ends up staying with Jak in the desert. But yeah, that's it. No sequel bait this time around. I guess they learned their lesson after having to retcon the last one out of existence. So what did I think of Jak 3? Well, the story is a fucking mess, there's no ignoring that. The quality of the writing took a nosedive since Jak 2. The precursor reveal was extremely disappointing. Kira's downgrade from main character to basically nothing is jarring. Count Vegan is introduced as a main villain and does nothing, and I feel the story has too many factions with none of them being explored properly. If there is a silver lining, it has to be Jak himself. I just found him to be much more likable this time around. I thought Jak in the second game was a little too much of an unlikable asshole. Here he is still an asshole, as I pointed out many times, but he is just so entertaining. He's cockier and jokes around a lot more instead of just brooding and assaulting people. He's more like a proper Chad and less like the guy from Hatred. Just how I feel Dexter really came to be in Jak 2. Jak hit the ground running in the third game. In terms of gameplay and design though, my feelings are more mixed. The game design overall I feel is a lot weaker. Jak 3 expands on the combat system, but it's ultimately irrelevant because the game is so poorly balanced. Having all those different guns and upgrades doesn't really matter because the entire combat aspect of the game is solved by the time we get the beam reflexor. Jak 2 was too hard and Jak 3 is too easy, but Jak 2 felt like it was built around being hard. Jak 3 is full of oversights brought to light by the easier difficulties, such as checkpoints abused to get health back. It feels like it's repurposing a system that wasn't built for it. That being said, Jak 3 has much better level design than Jak 2 and is a lot better structured, with less padding and more unique areas, missions, and gameplay styles, as well as a better designed game world. It fixed a lot of problems I had with the second game, even if it broke a lot of shit in the process. The beam reflexor trivializes the combat, but strangely it helps with the flow of the platforming by eliminating the need to stop to deal with enemies. I don't think this is intentional and it is definitely a huge balancing issue, but in a strange way this might be the reason I enjoyed this game so much. And I do enjoy this game a lot. It may not seem like it from how much I've been shitting on it for the past hour, but I really do. The moment-to-moment gameplay here is extremely engaging. It's very fun and memorable, even if a lot of it doesn't work. In the end, did I find the answer as to what happened to Naughty Dog? Well, it should be obvious that I didn't. Jak 3 is still a great game, and somehow I doubt Jak X Combat Racing is going to be a boring movie game. I guess things just aren't that simple. Well, at least I got to experience another series of great platforming games. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you're still in the mood, then I have videos on Jak 1 and 2 and a lot of Crash games. And also some other stuff, maybe take a look. If you haven't already, then make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that. Okay, thanks.